I'm gonna help as much as I can. I'm gonna tell you if you have questions, I will try to answer them. But it's a session to report out the progress, and also is to learn from each other, right? Not I'm not gonna be giving a class like last week. Okay, hopefully that was clear. Is that correct? Are the projects? I saw a few of them in that folder, Agostino. So
Yes.
I'll go there and open
Sure.
open that one.
By the way, Daniel, I was giving authorization, excuse me, about one person to join to a team that was late. So probably there is a team that exceeded the limit by one of what you said last time, but I feel it's not very critical.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm trying to open from here my, I'm not sure I know how to get here. Let me see. How to go into the, folders from here. I'm not sure I know how to go into the folders. Well, I am.
The folder you have to click in team.
Yeah, but I cannot, I don't see the.
And if you click on the top, there is general post and file. I don't know if you have access to the file being a guest. Let me check. Do you see the file?
I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine. Give me a sec. I see that now.
I share the screen if you like.
Yeah.
So you can see how can I do? I click on Teams on the left.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Let me. Then I go here on General, and then I click on File on the menu, and then I look. I don't know where, but.
So let me show my. I'm sharing my screen now. I'm sharing.
So I close mine so you can.
Yeah. So do you guys see my screen where I see 3 different teams, right? Is that right?
Yes, I see.
3 different folders. Okay.
Daniele, there is a question.
Yes, Professor. I was unable to
upload.
Join to to upload because the file I was unable to access to the file.
Okay.
So I have the slide, and because my mail was not acceptable, I don't know why, sincerely.
I don't know, but you was in touch with other people that was able to access through WhatsApp or whatever?
No, because I was thinking that we had to put on the chat. Was my bad.
Why you don't send by email?
Because I sincerely was thinking that even if...
Okay, Daniele, you now try to follow, and I don't know if you have anything to send it now directly or through somebody else of your team that have access and understood how to do. Otherwise, too bad.
Thanks a lot. Sorry for the...
You can also later, if you want, you can share your screen and present from your laptop, right?
Good point.
Sorry for... Okay, thanks.
No problem. Just solution.
Yeah. So so you are seeing my screen hopefully, and you see there are 3 different folders, right? Right. So which one
go
should
first?
I start with? Any of them? So
you start by Anna Bolognesi. That you start from them and then you go. My suggestion. By the way, can I make a question to the class? How many teams there was organized? Do you know how many teams? Anyone? Like Anna knows how many teams on the first year, or Mario Ludovico knows how many teams of second year?
No, Professor, I don't know for second year. Actually, I did it the folder with my surname, I didn't make up team. I actually did that by myself on my own. The team is made by myself.
Okay, very good, very good. But there was somebody else of second class or not? Today you was there. Do you had a team also you, or what you have done?
No, Professor, I work by myself. But
Okay, but you don't uploaded.
Not yet.
Sandeep, niente. Who else was of second year connected? Just you two? And what about second year? Riane, Anna, Costini, and Oriol, do you know how many teams from second year? From first year, sorry. Oriol?
Yes, I'm in a team with Ali, and I think there was just some widespread confusion regarding the upload mechanism, but we're trying to get that solved.
But this is not a problem, because if you have done, you can upload now or share the screen. I mean,
Yeah. So I don't know exactly the total amount of teams.
Maybe you can put a request while we work here in WhatsApp, so we can know how many teams we could have in order to plan the sharing of time among the teams and so on.
Okay, I'll get on that.
You will do, Oriol?
Yes.
Very good. So, Daniel, sorry for the interruption. Go.
No. That's good. I mean, this is the idea of the session, right? We are going to interact and go through all the work together. So should I open the first one, this folder, Bolognesi, Costini?
Yes, I feel so. But Anna, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
We can start from this one, okay?
Yes, it's fine.
By the way, Daniel, just to say, let me say this, and please eventually confirm. In reality, if this was not just an exercise, it was a real work on some data of some, let me say, assets, probably in many cases, even out of COVID-19 crisis, you will do some of this work through the web, let me say, because often you have people on site that may be far away from where is your headquarters and even some other cooperator. So this way to work is even a way to learn how to work around the globe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel. No,
for sure. Yeah, you're right. You're very right. This is a very a situation that is very similar to the way you work today, right? In many companies, when you have people all over the world and work online all the time, right? Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So I don't know who's gonna present this or talk a little bit about this. Who of you? I mean, there is somebody in the team, right, that want to present this? I believe you said Anna. Anna was there. And,
yes, I'm here.
You you can take a few minutes I mean the members of the team and tell us a little bit what you did and what type of problems you face, if any, and share with the other teams, right, and with me. Go ahead.
Stefano, do you want to go or do I go? It's
you go.
Okay. In the first task, we modified the given code using the 3 examples. We had some problems, especially with the logic programming. The code we couldn't make the code work, so we didn't use it at the end, and we used lasso, SVR, and k-neighbors. For k-neighbors, we tried to change the number of neighbors. We tried with 5, and then we tried with 9, and then we went with 2. And we didn't see major differences changing the number of neighbors. And if you go to the second slide,
This one?
Yes, we briefly described the how the two pumps worked, because we can see different behaviors in pump 123 and in pump 456, and we can see that using the SVR method, we have the values surpass the threshold many times before the 3,500 samples. Instead, with the other two methods, this is not evident. And instead, with the pump 456, we can see that the three graphs that we get are very similar. So that's we didn't make major conclusions because we are not very familiar with the topic. So that's what we got from the exercise.
Yeah. This looks pretty good. So as you said, you said at the beginning there was some issue with the code, that you couldn't use the code. What was that? You were talking about one of the particular cases, the lasso cases or case?
No,
or?
not the lasso. It was the logic progression, and we decided not to use it at the end because we couldn't. We got errors in the code, especially in the fit function. I think maybe Stefano can tell it better.
Yes, because we don't know the correct characteristic probably that we must use for the code.
So yeah, okay, I think I understand now. So because what I was asking you is to choose from 4 different methods, right? Lasso, k-neighbors, and support vectors, and logistic regression. And you are saying the logistic regression, you basically couldn't make it work. There is maybe some parameters, hyperparameter that you had to tune, and it couldn't be tuned in the right way or something like that, right? That's what you meant?
Yes, probably this is our problem. We don't know this characteristic, this parameter, and the code doesn't work.
Yeah.
We try to find the solution on the browser, but we don't find it.
That's fine. So that is fine. I mean, that's why I was asking you to select 3. You know, I was giving you 4 options, and I was asking you to select 3 because I was thinking that maybe one of them was going to be a little bit more difficult to tune, and in the end we wanted to select the best option possible. So anyway, what I was giving you in the statement of the problem was a link, right, to the different functions in scikit-learn. So I would say I'm pretty sure you use those links, right? Those functions in scikit-learn, correct?
Yes. We use this function and we make the code from the example on the scikit-learn site.
Yeah. So the good thing of this type of exercise is that you have to not only use what I've used in the class, but also you need to investigate and spend some time yourself tuning the code and understanding a bit more, right? So this was my intention too. You can see here, right? If you see my screen now, there is, as you said, as you were saying before, Anna, I believe, was saying before, there are 2 pumps, right? One on the columns that are on the left side and the column on the right side. So the idea here in all cases is to have residuals that will stay mostly below the red line all the time until they reach the end where they start growing, right? And the idea is that when you are crossing consistently the red line is because you are getting into an anomaly, right? You are predicting an anomaly. You are saying this is a failure, an alarm will happen, right? And Yeah, as you said, the pump 456, the one that is on the right side, is something that is let's say more clear, right? More clear cut. It's better behaved than the other one. You see that the residuals are for all three methods actually, all three rows. I'm talking about the right column. In all cases, you see the residual is pretty low, and then when it gets close to the end, it jumps up all the way. So in all cases, it's pretty good. It's a pretty clear cut. On the first case, on the pump 1, 2, 3, things are a bit different, right? Because we can say that maybe SVR or K-neighbors was giving you something pretty good. Lasso, maybe at least here in this example, in this case, for your parameters, was not that good. Because what I'm trying to say is you're crossing the red threshold here several times, and you are closing it. For example, here in this area, you are closing it consistently, right? So if you are gonna trigger some alarm or some flag saying there is an anomaly condition, you will trigger it here. Which is really is like a false alarm, because you see the problem happens at the very end, right? When you are getting more into the end of the data, the data file that you have. So, but anyway, I think for the other two, for SVR and for K-neighbors, is pretty good. I mean, you are crossing the red line a couple of times, but there are only you are crossing it for 1 or 2 samples, right? So it's something that you can filter out. Like if you put a low pass filter or an average filter on top of the signal in blue, you're gonna see some consistent signal that will be low all the time until you get to the end where you're gonna cross the threshold, right? And this is the idea, right? So I would say the last 2 cases, the last 2 rows for pump 1, 2, 3 are good, are not worse for sure than what I was showing you. The first one, the first row, is not really gonna be too useful for what we are trying to do. Okay. Is that clear what we're trying to do here? And you guys understand what I'm trying to say? Why the first example here is not really as good as the other 2 cases?
Could we say that what you are saying is that we are looking for consistency, and the first row on the left doesn't look so consistent, and that is why it's not good?
Yeah, I'm saying what you're trying to see, yes, basically, yes, what you said is correct. What I'm trying to say is the residual should be consistently below the threshold at the beginning, and then as you get towards the end, it should consistently increase, right? Or cross the threshold and stay there, right? So you see this in all these cases except for the one here, right? The first row to the left.
Sorry, Professor, can I ask a question about this example?
Sure. Yep.
They are sensor. It means that if they are under threshold, they are off, and after that they are on. Yes, and the left one has a little bit noise in it. Mm-hmm. Is it true?
Yes. So here we are trying to. So what the blue line is your residual, right? Is the difference between the true signal, the true channel, the actual channel, and the estimated channel which corresponds to a healthy scenario. So when your actual channel is close to a healthy scenario, you will have a low residual. And like, for example, here or here, you see it's more clear on the right side. When your difference is when your actual channel is not close to a healthy scenario, you will start seeing a residual that is bigger. And this is what you see, right? What the reason I'm saying the first one is not as good is because this difference is not very consistent, right? You are crossing the threshold several times. Okay.
Yes, and in general, the pump 456 is better than pump 123. Yes.
Yeah, I would say better in the sense that
You don't have any noise.
Residual is, yeah, it's better in the sense that the residual seems to be better behaved, right? It is something smoother and it is more clear when you are transitioning from a healthy behavior into a faulty behavior. It's a very clear transition that is taking place somewhere here, right? Yes. Somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 samples, there is a clear, very, very clear change, right? A jump. This is not for the other case, for the first pump, is less clear. Correct? It could be because the type of failure is different, right? The type of failure maybe here is developing over time. There is some kind of mechanical failure that is developing over time in some part of the engine, and here is something a bit more sudden, right? It will go from a pretty good scenario, pretty good normal behavior, into something that is failure scenario in only a few seconds, right? A few samples.
Yes.
Right, but this is a characteristic of the data, right? It's not really your method, right? Your method can help make things more clear or less clear, but the data that original data coming from the equipment is different.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Professor.
No problem. So yeah, I think the conclusions are good. I like that you guys were trying to understand the three different methods and apply them, and you got overall very good results, right? Okay. Then any other question here on this before we go into the confusion matrix type of analysis?
Yes, Professor, just a questions about the operative way to try to understand the situation with the real machine. It's always so it's always better to run at least 3 or 4 different methods to be more confident with a situation. Yes. Never. Okay.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, these methods in machine learning, there is not a clear best one, right? You have 3 or 4 that you will need to try or more in every case and see which one is giving you the best result.
Okay, because there is not enough conclusions seeing just 2 or also 3. With the 3 we have at least 2 that are quite similar, but only with 2 we haven't this kind of confidence with the system.
Yeah, for example, if you look here, at least for the tuning of hyperparameters you have done, you would say probably lasso is not something that you should use use for this example, you would use one of the two, right? One of these two, SVR or K-neighbors, right? And this is not uncommon, right? You need to try a few things and see which one is giving you the data, because that particular method could be better adapted to the type of data you have, right? To the data you have for that particular case, for that particular scenario.
Okay.
So it's not uncommon to go through. This is a real kind of a real life example, right?
Yes.
You are gonna try 3, 4, 5 different methods and select one, looking at the results.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody wants to talk about these confusion matrices and?
Yes, Professor.
Sure.
Here we see how the confusion matrix changed while using different methods, the ones you gave us, and to see how it changed after we aggregate two of the classes inside one. So we can see that in the last one is the random forest, was the default one, and the other two are very similar. We gained mostly the same results, and the differences are of some units. So the percentage can change of even of bigger values, but we have still to remember that we were operating on a sample of 50 samples. So a small change in the absolute value can cause quite a big change in the percentage. So that's what we did.
Right. So this was the second problem, the second exercise. Here, the idea was that there was a problem, a classification problem, 3-class classification problem for a very well-known problem, by the way, in the literature, which is to classify 3 types of flowers of the same species. Classify these 3 types using different features, right? 4 different features, which are different geometric characteristics of the flowers. I think so. What you have done is you have taken 3 different classifiers methods, and you came up with the 3x3 original confusion matrix. So you can see in all 3 cases the classification is pretty good, right? In the sense that if you look at the diagonals of the matrix, are clearly much bigger than the off diagonals, right? This is which means that the majority of the cases the classification is correct. There are a few cases, like in the first example, you have some misclassifications, right? So you see some components outside the diagonal, but overall is pretty good. Then you went into the from the 3x3 matrix, you went into the 2 matrix, because I was asking for some metrics like accuracy, true positive rate, etc., that were not really defined for 3x3. Is defined for a 2x2. They are defined for a binary classification problem, right? Can some of you, any of you, one of you, can tell me how did you go from the 3x3 into the 2x2?
Yes.
Okay. we just took the iris target array, and we changed the classifications. So we took the samples that were classified in a class, and we said that we were classified in another one. So we basically deleted class.
Say that again. I didn't catch.
We took the array value, the array target value, and we changed these values. So where we decided that the first two classes were just one unique class, and changed the array to have this result.
Yeah, but you didn't run the classification again, right? You didn't run the classifier again. You just look at the final 3x3 array and rearrange that array.
No, we ran the classification again.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I can understand why. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because if you had taken just this 3x3, right, and rearrange, you will have 13, 2, 3, and here in the this right. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So this, but you didn't do that. You basically rerun the entire problem again using 2 classes, not 3 classes.
Yes.
Okay. 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 Because otherwise you will see 13, 3. Do you see my mouse, right? Do you see the arrow that is?
Yes.
Mouse? Yeah. So this, yeah, you will have 13 and 3, but here you will have it number 2.
And 32.
Yeah. Right. And here you will have 32. Correct. Correct. Okay. But you rerun, so you got something a bit different. And the same is true for the other cases, right? You rerun and got 14 instead of 13. Yeah, that's fine. It's a different run. So there are differences that are explained from there. Could you, one of the members of the group could tell me how accuracy and TPR and TNR where all these metrics were computed from these 2x2 matrices? Could any of you tell me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, the accuracy regard the 2x2 matrix, not 3x3.
Yeah, the 2x2. Yeah.
Yes, we had calculated this value from the formula of presentation.
Okay. Okay. So okay. The true positive rate, for example, true positive rate give you a perfect true positive rate here, right? 100%.
Yes.
And why is that? Why is that?
It's
I don't
because
remember
there's the zero in the position 0, 1. We have a 0, and so the value should be I think 13 divided 13 plus 0, so we get 1. Or I don't remember if that's the right formula.
Okay.
There were no false negative values. So.
Yeah, but basically is what you said at the beginning, right? This is because of this 0 here in the first row of the 2x2 matrix. This 0 means that there are no misclassifications in this case, right? So this will give you a perfect score for that row that we call true positive. Right. So looks fine. So another thing that you should look here is that this when you go from 3 classes into 2 classes, the problem is a bit unbalanced, right? You have there is one class that has many more members, many more samples, many more labeled samples than the other class. So you see this 34 here and 13 in the and similar numbers in the diagonals, right? So this can make the accuracy could be a little, the accuracy one, the first metric there, which is just the basic, the way you compute this accuracy, if you remember, is to take the numbers in the diagonal and divide this number by the summation of all the numbers in all entries of the matrix. So that number, because it's unbalanced, it can be a little bit less useful, right? Because it is the accuracy will be heavily dominated by the most popular class, right? So an accuracy of high 90s maybe will not mean that is really a good classifier. I'm not talking about these cases, but imagine a case where you have many more. It's very unbalanced. You have many more members of one class than the other. Because it's very unbalanced, the accuracy it could be very high in the 90s or 95%, but still for the class that is poorly represented, the classification could be poor, right? So that's why accuracy, it may not be the only number to look at. You need to look at other metrics and other metrics like true positive rate, true negative rate, etc. Okay, any other conclusion here? Anything else you want to say?
No, I think we just said everything we had to say.
Okay. Okay. All right. So thank you. This is, I think this is pretty good. Any questions from the others on this example, on what they have done? Okay, so the other, okay, we should go next to this one.
Excuse me, Professor.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to complete our assignment, so I have uploaded our assignment, but it's incomplete. Is it okay, or we can complete it in future?
Yeah, we can talk about what you have. Which one is your?
The last one, Gila, Behnam, and Faraz.
Okay, we can go later through that. Yes.
Thank you.
So can I open this one? Is Mario there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do we want to go with the regression first, Mario, and you can tell us what you have done? Okay.
So, shall I say what I did?
Yeah. Tell us what you have done.
I'm sorry for that bright white spot in the middle of the slides. It wasn't like that when I uploaded, but anyway, I chose the same regression tools that have been used by the previous group because I had the same problem of theirs. I couldn't make the logistic regression work, and after quite some time that I tried to make it work and it wasn't working, I just decided to go for the other tools.
Sure.
I played quite a bit with all the parameters of the of these tools, and I was getting very different results. So I decided ultimately to leave them as they were, also because the results, in my opinion, are pretty consistent. I decided to change, though, the key neighbors, because I felt that having a lot of samples, I could increase a little bit the number of neighbors to be considered. And doing some trials, I found out that 9 was a good number of neighbors. So I would say that the results for pump 1, 2, 3 are quite consistent also because the pattern is pretty identical from one regressor to the other. I would say the key neighbors is not effective, but that I think is because of the way that key neighbors works, because it's actually very hard to get the right number of neighbors. And for the other two tasks, I would say the results are good, especially for the SVR, because before there are 2 points where that are well beyond the threshold, but these cases are predictable because it could be seen when the residuals still below the threshold. It was possible to see both with lasso and with SVR. There was a significant increase in the steepness of the behavior of the residuals, so it could have been predicted that there was going to happen something bad. And these are the 2 peaks, I would say, that you can see in the SVR and lasso in the middle of the graphs. There is also a 3rd peak that is not as bad as the other 2 in the beginning, but that was not, I think, predictable because there is no increase in steepness. Just at some point there is a bad value. On the other hand, pump 456 is less consistent, but no residuals get through beyond the threshold, and this leads me to say that in pump 1, 2, 3 there is some kind of working condition that leads to a critical failure, and on the other hand, in pump 4, while it is working normally, and then there is some kind of condition, in my opinion, that leads to a very bad behavior. On the other hand, on pump 456, the data is less consistent, but and there are a lot of residuals that deviate from the baseline, I would say, but it's not something critical. It might be something, I'm widely guessing, as stupid as a screw that is not tight enough. So yeah, it can be seen in the graph, but it's not something.
So let me ask one question. Very simple question. I see these 3 rows, right? But you were using I see 3 rows, and so what is the first? The first row is K neighbors. The first row.
It's because it's white over white. The first row is SVR, the second one is key neighbors, and the third one is lasso. But I don't know why there is that white under the white bright spot. There is written SVR, but I don't know why that white bright spot is there.
So the first row is SVR, the second is K neighbors, and the third is lasso. The one that you couldn't make it work was again logistic regression, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. What I mean, are you plotting here the residuals? I mean, are you in this figure? Are you showing the difference between your between the signal, the channel coming from your model, and minus the actual channel? Is that what you're plotting, right?
Yes, I think so. Yes. Let me check real quick.
Because you see that none of them is showing the kind of the shape you expect at the end, right?
Okay.
At the end, you would expect as I show in my slide, or as you have seen in the previous group slide, you see that in the end you expect the residual to kind of get higher and cross the threshold, indicating there is an abnormal situation, right? Something is not right. You're not matching. So your model, indicating that the model is not tracking the real signal, and it's because there is something that is different from the data you use for training, basically. But you have not seen that here, right? Which is what I don't really understand why. You know what I mean, right? At the end.
See, yeah, like the behavior that was shown by the other group. Actually, I was surprised as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure what happens, but make sure what you are showing here in the figure is the difference, right? Is the error, the difference between the signal, the channel that is estimated by your model minus the actual channel, or the other way around. But it's a difference. Are you sure you are doing that in your code? Can you double check?
I am quite sure also because for the plotting part I used your code, and I did not rename the variables, so it should be right.
Okay.
Yes, I'm quite sure. I mean, I would have to show you, but I'm quite sure that I used the right one. May I share my screen so that we are sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think you need to just yeah, you are sharing now. Okay. Plot residual test. Yeah, you are doing the difference, and pred y is coming from the prediction. And what is the standard scalar SVR? I don't know. We may need to see more carefully what's going on here. Yeah. But this is not the profile I was expecting to see in the residuals, right? Because at the end, so the residuals have to be low all the time, but low meaning below this red threshold. But at the end, they should go and cross that threshold. So there is something. Yeah, maybe if you send me later that code.
Okay.
I can take a look and and try to find what happens here.
Okay. Is it okay if I send it as a IPYNB file, like the standard Jupyter file?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I will take a look. I'm not sure what's going on, but you know what I mean, right?
Okay. Yes.
The shape and the residual is not the one we expect to see here. Okay. Let me share again. Let me share again this. Okay, I don't see. You see mine. Give me a second. Do you see your slide again? Mario,
Yes.
do you see your slide again? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that's one. And let's go to the other. Let's go to the other, the classification one. So this one, okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully you see it. So I see the original 3x3, and here you have done. So tell me what approaches have you tried? I see random forest. What else?
Yes, I use random forest, the stochastic gradient descent, and the support vector classificator. The results are in the 3x3 matrix are quite good, except for the stochastic gradient descent that shows a higher degree of error, but I'm guessing that that's because of the stochasticity, and also because the two clusters of the two classes, the first two classes are quite similar one another. And in fact, when to pass to the two classes matrix, I simply it's one line of code that I use to replace the classes of the class tag of the second class, and I make it the same as the first one. And in fact, doing this, having those all those elements that are then put in the same class, the stochastic gradient descent becomes much more accurate, and to the point that the true negative rate is equal to 1. And as you said before, it's actually, I am a bit confused now, because in the same situation, the group before with that 0 in that position, and I'm looking now it's stochastic gradient descent, but was another confusion matrix. But I don't think that the way that the classifier worked means to the computation of the value of the coefficients, let's call them coefficients, of the confusion matrix. I see that the true negative rate for me is 1, whereas for the same situation they had the true positive rate was 1. And actually, I'm a bit confused by this now.
Well, this could be on the. So here we have two classes, right? In the end,
yes.
You have two classes. So it could be what you call negative and what you call positive in the end, right? This is these are two different classes. Is not necessarily one is positive and the other is negative. So the difference, I think, if you are using the formulas I give in the presentation, which probably you are, it doesn't need to be different. It could be only the situation that you are using. You are calling it negative, what other people was calling positive, because there is. I mean, we are classifying these two type of flowers, right? There is no negative or positive. It could be that. What I think.
Okay, but anyway, I would say that the results are quite good in all of the 3 cases, because the values are quite high except for the precision, and I wouldn't know. And in my opinion, it might be related to the degree of randomness the classifier, because the other values, in my results, the precision, the TPR, and the accuracy are more or less all the same, whereas the TNR changes alongside with the randomness, because I get, in my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, the super vector classificator is the less random classifier, where there is the less stochasticity, and it has the lowest TNR. And then there is the random forest classifier, and then there is the SGD that achieves total the totality of the true negatives.
Yeah, I agree that in all three cases the results are good. If you look at the 2x2 matrices, you see that the diagonals are much bigger than the elements you have in the off diagonals, right? In some cases you have a 0, in other cases you have a 3, 4, but you are always very clearly with dominating diagonals, right? So, and this is translating into the numbers you are seeing there. Accuracy and the true positive, true negative rates are all high. So I say, yeah, I agree with you. These are good classifiers, and I'm happy that you were able to run all three of them, and you are getting similar results, right? In all cases. So this is pretty good.
All right.
All right. Very good. Any question from anybody else on this? Okay. So we have another group, De Vita, Martello, Sirna. So I'm going to open this exercise 1. Who would like to talk a little bit about what you guys have done?
Okay, I start. Basically, we had used the random forest regressor and the neighbor.
Who is talking?
Sorry?
Who is talking? What's your name?
Sirna.
What is your name?
Daniel.
I didn't get what you
Daniel Sirna.
Sirna. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, thanks.
Basically, we noticed that in the two graphs there was a difference. In particular, we noticed that the first there are a few peaks before the starting the trend of going wrong, basically. But we didn't consider those trends only for the final evaluation. We consider in particular the yellow line and the green line, because we was thinking that the first is more stable, because this trend start to start after more index of samples.
Mm-hmm.
On the other part, we can also say the second add more oscillation, or add more peak, even if the first have one big peak. And we only noticed this with the first bump.
Okay.
Like we say in the slide, there are different breaking points.
So when you are what you are highlighting here in yellow and green lines, what is the yellow and the green line again?
The yellow is the breaking point of the second graph, okay. And the green is regarding the first.
Yes, Professor. Maybe modifying the slide, the images are just moved from the point that we were trying to identify better of the second, because it was just moved of 2 of 300 of samples, because the breaking point starts in 2 different points. So basically the yellow line is 2 on the left.
Mm. Okay. I see. The yellow line should move.
Yes, exactly.
To the left.
Instead of what we see in the second system.
So what do you think? What do you think is better, to have the yellow line or to have a green line? Which case? If you need to pick one, right? If you need to pick random forest or k-neighbors for this particular pump, for this particular example, which one would you pick and why?
And the first, because like I said before, there is the breaking point start after more index of samples. It start later, the breaking point that change the trend and start to basically to evaluate in a wrong way the values that we have in the machine.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying the upper plot,
yeah,
is better. Is
maybe we got wrong.
So yeah, I don't know, the second plot, right, the lower plot, which is probably the k-neighbors, right?
Yes.
Is it looks better to me in the sense that you have a more clear ramp, right, going up. In the first one, you have like there are a couple of. I mean, first of all, I think both are good, right? Both are good. Both are maybe the second one, it is more clean in the sense that you don't have a lot of oscillation back and forth around the threshold. The second one maybe consider, in my opinion, a little bit better, but both are good. I agree that both are good.
Ah, okay.
We ran another one that seems to be that was Lasso, but we decided to report these two. Is it right, Daniele? We were.
Yeah, like you said.
That's fine.
This is regarding the pump.
Right. So we go to the second slide. Here is the other pump, right?
Exactly.
Right. And here there are no. Again, this pump is easier in some sense because there is a big difference between normal operation and when you're seeing the jump, and you're in both cases you're capturing that jump, right?
There is a tough discontinuity between the anomaly and the good operational.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So these are good. So from the point of view of the hyperparameters in the algorithms, the random forest and the k-neighbors, have you tried to adjust any hyperparameters, or you use what it was there? How was your experience with that?
We was able only to change some variable in order to put this algorithm, this machine learning process. In fact, we haven't made some big changes in your program.
But you sorry, you said you changed something from the default parameters, or you use the default parameters all the time in both cases?
No, we changed something in the default parameter.
Okay. Do you remember what?
Yes, only the beginning when there was expressed the algorithm. We substitute basically only the first thing, the type of program, of variable, exactly.
Okay. All right. So let me go to the other. exercise 2 is the classifier. Yeah. So could you explain a bit what you do?
I can continue, Professor.
Sure.
Good evening, good afternoon. I'm Martello.
Okay, nice to meet you. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically on the left side of the first slide, we have the confusion matrix 3x3, and we show the accuracy of this matrix. Then we proceeded to convert the 3x3 matrix to 2x2. Basically, we changed the value that was associated to the type of flowers. So basically, we changed all the 1 values to the 0 to obtain a 2x2 matrix. And then we proceeded to calculate all the ratio that were requested. And we obtain these results. And as we can see, the accuracy of random forest regressor and the ADA model are the same and that are both better than the S2C model, the support vector classificator.
Yeah, that's right. Well, so yeah, I see that the recall in the first case, the random forest to give you 1. Why is that?
Yes.
You got recall of 1?
We basically assumed that the value of the recall was the same as the true positive rates. That's why it is the same value in all the 3 model that we used. The recall is the same as the true positive rates.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, which is correct. I mean, depends on the definition of the true positive rate, but the definitions that I gave you in my slides, so that was the same. Recall and true positive rate was the same.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions from anybody on this example?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Why the value of first matrix in random forest classifier are different by the matrix of the first group in terms of value? What is the reason?
What do you mean by different? What is the difference that you see?
Yes, the difference of value. For example, the first group have 18 in the first column, and here I see 10. Because why this?
Maybe we use a different. Yeah, it's a random code, so maybe it's for this.
So yeah, I think there is some randomness in the way you partition the sets, right? I think it's coming from there.
Yes.
So yeah, so you cannot unless you keep all the random seeds the same, consistent over all the exercise for everybody. You will see some changes here, right? Because in the way you partition the sets, you will end up with different small differences, right? Maybe you will see sometimes 10, sometimes we'll see 12, sometimes we'll see 11 small differences. I think it's coming from there. I'm not sure I got your question 100% right, but I think you are pointing to that.
Yes, it's clear. Thanks.
Okay. So yeah, it's a question of getting different samples, so there is some random aspect, right? That if we are not careful with that and fix the same for everybody, you will get slightly different numbers. But overall, the accuracy and recall and things like that should be in the same levels. I mean, not the same number, but same levels.
Professor, just a question. Are these two methods the best one because we overall have the nearest value to 0 out of the principal diagonal, respect the other that
like
they
you write
were
in the second.
Say that again. Are these methods the best one?
Sorry. Are these the best methods because we noticed that the value overall outside of the principal diagonal are the nearest to 0, and respect also the others that were sometimes 3, 2, or higher. Respect we have 0 and 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you want to have a perfect classifier, right? A perfect classifier is when you have all the off-diagonal elements to be 0.
Yes. Yes, the questions was about that. So if they were closest to the perfect classifier.
Yeah. So if you have one way of counting one way of, let's say, visualizing if you are closer or farther away from the perfect classifier is to look at the off diagonals.
Yes.
And if you have the off diagonals all to be 0, you are in a perfect classification case. If you have some 1s, it's better than having 2s and 3s, right? So I guess that's what you mean.
Yeah, I was meaning that because
yeah.
we run also the others, but we selected this one for this reason.
Yeah. So this is better. What you need also to keep in mind is that there is the sample is not that big. You are not dealing with the thousands of samples. So the way you partition the sets and all the randomness that is coming with that also plays a role, right? So according to a given partition, you can be for the same quality of the classifier, depending on how the random plays in your favor or against you, there may be some small differences, right? You can see some changes, right, in the off diagonals. But in general, it should be pretty stable. It should be small changes. Yeah, keep in mind that there is some random aspect here when we partition the numbers, and also there is some random aspect coming from some of the algorithms that you are using yourself, right? So random forest, for example, there is some randomness there. There is some randomness in the way you pick the different trees. You pick the features for the different trees in the forest. So that randomness also is in play. If you want to do a much more careful comparison between different classifiers, what you need to do is you need to run these many times, the different partitions, and look at some kind of average, right, over all these partitions. That's the way to do it. Right.
Yeah, in fact, we're running like it's written in the second slide. We write a few times this program, and we notice in general SVC was the best program because I sincerely don't know why, but running it shows that regarding the 3x3 matrix, it was the best, and regarding the 2x2 was had the similar value of accuracy of other model that is equally the best.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have a small set like this, which is I mean, it's not small, but you have something like 150 samples, right, in total. So for 3 classes is not that big. So when you have a small set like this, the best way, if you want to really compare different classifiers, is to run several partitions and take maybe the average of what you see there, right? The average accuracy and the average recall and things like that, and compare. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Viassolo.
Thanks.
Yeah, keep always in mind that you are doing partitions, right? And this is there is a random aspect everywhere, right?
For sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Even I can imagine the error, the percentage of error.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, thanks.
Yes. So I'm gonna open this. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the report, for the presentation. I'm gonna go next to Muhammad Angalseran.
Yes, Professor.
Yeah, if any of you can walk us through what happened here.
Yes, for sure. First of all, this is Ali Muhammad, and good morning, I think, for you, Professor Viassolo.
Thank you.
As for the pumps anomaly detection, unfortunately, we were able to use only the k-neighbors regressor. This was the only we can a little bit manipulate the program to get a result. So we have some comparison with the from k-neighbors and the random forest regressor. As we can see from the graphs that the k-neighbors, which is the first paragraph, has some there is some residual over the threshold, but I think it's not too bad for the system. And the second graph, it is for the random forest regressor. There is a couple of jumps on the threshold. I think it's little in number, but I think it's high in value. So for me, I think it's the k-neighbors regressor is more accurate.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I had to pick one, it seems that the one in the first row, the k-neighbors, seems to be a little bit more stable. There are some spikes crossing the threshold, but the good thing is that there only seems to be only two samples, right? Which we can easily filter out with some kind of filter, some kind of low pass filter. So yeah, I agree. The first one shows a little bit better, but both are okay. Well, I would say both are fine. Yeah. Have you tried other approaches other than these two?
Actually, we tried, but unfortunately, it always give us an error. So we didn't get any graph. Yeah. Especially for the logistic regressor, we spent so much time to understand the parameters and how to implement them on the code, but unfortunately, we were unable to do it.
So when you say get some errors, you meant
well, in the code.
In the code, okay. Yeah. So this is something maybe we need to look at, but that's fine. But I mean, anyway, you were able to run for these two methods. Did you have to do some kind of parameter tuning, hyperparameter tuning for these methods? These two?
Yeah, we tried some tuning, but I think maybe I think that we're using some different numbers, but I think it was not very accurate. So the result was pretty strange or not acceptable, I think. So we ignored them and we used only the default for the k-neighbors.
Okay, I see. So in the end, the default is in the end what you are showing me here are the defaults, right?
The default, yeah.
Okay. All right, and looks good. There is a next. The next page is for the other. Next slide is for the other pump, right?
Yeah, for the other pump, yeah. I think it's self-explanatory. Both both approaches were accurate. I think the k-neighbors even a little little bit more stable or more accurate than the random forest.
Yeah.
And almost on the same number of samples, the alarm will go off or the pump will fail.
Yeah.
So I think the k-neighbors it's again the more accurate.
Yeah, I would say so. K-neighbor seems to be less oscillating, a bit more stable, and but I mean both of them are all from the point of view of crossing the threshold. They cross the threshold, never come back. So both of them are good. I agree. Okay, thank you. Let's go. Let's go with the other one. There is slide.
I will do it. I'm real Calcium.
Sure. This is about the classification, right? Classifier.
Yeah. So basically, the result is basically what we've seen on the other groups.
Mm-hmm.
But I have some questions regarding the change from the 3x3 to 2x2.
Uh-huh.
What we did was we changed the data set because I had never worked with scikit data sets, only pandas. So I didn't know how to change it. So I changed every one in the result to 0. So instead of having 0, 1, 2, we have 0 and 2. Is that a valid way to reduce it from 3x3 to 2x2?
Yeah. So what you are saying is initially the data set has 3 classes, right? 0, 1, and 2.
Exactly.
And you so you went into 2 classes, 0 and 2. You mean you delete the class number 1, right?
Exactly. I didn't delete the class. I changed it from 1 to 0. So there's 100 zeros and 50 twos.
Okay.
That makes sense, right? That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, for this exercise is a valid way to do it. I didn't specify too much how to do it. What I was, yeah, I mean that is fine. That is fine. What I'm wondering is in the 2x2 cases, why do we see? I see when I look at your diagonals there, I see 19 and 15, right? 19 and 16.
Yeah.
So why is not like maybe 2 times 15 is something around 30? What you see in the other diagonal? I don't understand that.
I don't understand the question.
So do you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Here in the, yeah.
Yeah.
So when I look here is you have 15, right? In this diagonal.
Yeah.
Right? 15, 16, 16.
Yeah.
So around 15. And when I look at the other diagonal, you have around 19, right? 19 actually, all the time. So I was thinking that this is depending on the way you, I guess, in the way you sample this. Why don't you see something like 2 times 15? Because the other class is like 2 times the other class, right? The number of members.
Right.
So you will get something maybe around 30.
Code now, and there's a difference between the code and what the results that I have here. I don't know why. Maybe copying it mixed something up. I can show you. Can I share my screen?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So these are the results that we have. I'm sorry because the bottom row is shifted, but these make more sense, right?
Yeah.
Than the ones in the PDF.
Yeah, it makes more sense because I see that one diagonal is like 2 times the other, right? 23.
100 samples and 50.
Yeah, 22
should be double, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So maybe in the results you put there in the slide there was something that was
yeah, I don't know.
yeah. Was not the maybe it was not the I mean you copy and paste something wrong or
Yeah,
something
maybe
like that.
when we ran it, we ran a wrong cell and then the wrong data was loaded.
Yeah.
It's a copying error. I'm sorry about that. And now that I have the screen open, this is the method that I used to change the 1 to the 0, but I feel that it's kind of probably wrong. It works, but with large data sets, I think it would be slow. So I don't know if there's like some kind of faster way to do this, like there are like list comprehensions or something like that. You know what I mean?
You're talking about this for loop, right?
Yeah.
For R and range.
It just makes a range with the length of the target and then just iterates through it. But there's a nicer way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably not the best way to do it. But I mean, for this small example, it's fine, right? You're talking about 150 numbers, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we didn't get was not really the objective of the class to go into some optimized Python code, right? We are far from that. You can imagine, right? So the best way maybe is to use some kind of comprehensive list to do that. If you write me later, I can show you maybe the best way to do that in a couple of lines of code.
Perfect.
Yeah, but this is not. This was not really the objective of the class, right? Going to optimize Python code. Okay, no, but this looks good.
Thank you.
Okay, so anything and any out of these three? I'm not showing my give me a sec. Okay, I think I'm showing again the slide, right? The yellow slide. So so as a conclusion of this exercise here, any one that you prefer of these classifiers?
Well, the one with the best accuracy is the SVC. Actually, yeah. There's another thing that I wanted to ask you. The ADA boost was never better than any of the other ones. It was at most like the exact same accuracy.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by why do you say never? I mean, you try several.
Yeah, we did a few runs.
Yeah.
Because as I understand, what AdaBoost does is it takes like a base model, like a random forest, and then like augmentates it in some way that I don't understand. So maybe that wasn't working, and it gave us the same results as the random forest or the SVC.
No, I think there is no need. There is no clear reason for being not better than the other. It could be because of the some of the hyperparameters, some of the parameters you have there, right, in the other boost.
Okay.
I don't think there is a clear. I don't think we can claim that it will be always performing worse than the other. I think it's a question of the hyperparameters you pick there, right?
Okay.
I mean, we need. I mean, this is a general conclusion, right, for everybody. We are looking at 3-4 different methods. the methods are not necessarily better or worse than the other. For a given data set, there are some optimal parameters for each one of the methods. Most of the time, because this is a simple exercise, most of the time we are not using the optimized hyperparameters for each one of the methods, right? So, and that's fine. And this was not the objective of the exercise anyway. But if you want to compare method versus one method versus another method, the comparison will make sense for a particular data set, and also the comparison will make sense only if you can get the optimal parameters for each one of the methods. Then you can compare each one of the methods with the optimal parameters for each one of them and say, okay, for this data set, for this problem, for example, let's say random forest is the best one, right? But until we get to that point, we are just making comparisons that are a little bit arbitrary, right? And claims that are a little bit arbitrary. It's based on a quick example. But that being said, I mean, in practice, you don't have the time in your work. If you do this in your work, or if you will do this in your work in the future, you don't have the time to really to spend, 3-4 days optimizing hyperparameters for all your method. Once you get to the level of accuracy or the level of recall that you need, that's it, right? You stop there and you use that.
Right.
There is no time normally in a company to really go and spend days on this, right? So that's
another question, sir. This tuning of the hyperparameters, can it be done like automated? Like we've done other subjects, minimization of functions or maximization. So maybe using like multivariate maximization to see what model would fit the best and just run them over and over and over and do that like in an automated. Is that done usually?
Yes. So this is a good point. So actually, inside scikit-learn, there are at least two methods that you can use to iterate on the hyperparameters and select the best ones. One is called search CV or something like that, and there is another one. I can ping later. I can put later in the chat. I can put the names. I need to look for them. But there are methods. I mean, what you're saying is true, and moreover, there are already inside scikit-learn two methods to do that. So you don't need to worry about running your own optimization loop, right? You don't need to worry about it.
Okay, perfect.
I will later put in the chat for the class. I will put the names of the two different functions in scikit-learn. One is more looking at the random. One is more random and runs quicker. The other is more following some kind of path for the optimization, like some kind of gradient descent, and runs a little bit slower. But you can try that later on if you wish.
Okay. Gracias.
Okay. All right. Very good. So I have this last one that so one of you was telling me before it is not 100% complete, but we're going to look at what you guys have.
I can read your question. I have completed it during this webinar.
Okay.
Okay.
You want who is talking? Sorry.
Gila. I'm Gila Daladashi.
Sheila. So you wanna go through this slide? Should I? Can you tell us what you have done here in the regression?
Yes.
So this is the group. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
And this is the two pumps. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Actually, we did it for these three websites that you set for us. And as you can see, I understand that LASSO is more efficient than the others, and K-neighbors is not really as efficient as that two others that you can see. And that is.
I didn't follow what you said. What you said? Could you say that again?
Yes. I mean, for pump for pump 123, we see a lot of peaks in LASSO algorithm, but I believe that it is more efficient than the other algorithms in pump 123. But in pump 456, we see that they are really similar to each other. But in that, I think K-neighbors is better than the others in pump 456 because it's more closer. It's closer to their hold.
Yeah. So if we look at pump 1 to 3, we have these three methods, right? Which one you would select as the best one for pump 1 to 3?
LASSO.
The LASSO for pump 1 to 3, the first one.
Yes, because yes, it has a lot of peaks. It's not good, but I think it's more closer. It's closer to our red line or their hold.
Yeah, but I think it's the opposite, right? I mean, the idea here is that the residuals, your blue line, has to be at the beginning when you are in a healthy normal behavior. Your blue line has to be low, right? Has to be the residuals have to be small, and then when you are getting closer to the failure, to the alarm, your blue line has to get higher and cross the threshold, right? So in that sense, I think probably the best one that you have here is the K-neighbors of the SVR. The LASSO is not doing really what we want because it's getting very close to the threshold all the time, right? And yeah, I don't think it's what we want in LASSO. The other two are much better. I would say the K-neighbors seems to be the best one. Maybe here is a bit smoother than the SVR. For the other pump, for 4, 5, 6, all three are okay, right? This pump is more clearly behaved. There is a more clear difference between the healthy normal behavior at the beginning and the abnormal behavior at the end. So all three are good enough. Maybe LASSO, yeah, maybe as you said, LASSO here is the best one in the sense that it's smoother and is farther away from the threshold than the other two. But all three are okay for pump 4, 5, 6. Did you understand what I said about pump 1, 2, 3, right? On the how to look at that?
Yes, actually, I think the normal thing is that are there short, but now I understand that the best one is that Can you hear my voice?
I can hear it, right? Go ahead.
Okay. I think if they are fewer, smaller, it's better than the others, more efficient.
Okay. Okay. So you understand what I was saying for pump 1, 2, 3, right? That lasso, the middle one,
yes,
is not the best one, right? Is the worst of the three. Right. You want to be at the beginning when you are in a normal behavior, you want to be far away, low from the threshold, and then you want to cross the threshold at the end. So these pieces here, these portions here, when you are crossing the threshold consistently, are not good, right? That's what I was trying to say.
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Okay. And then, okay, there are something on the classification too. So I see you have tried 3 different ones: random forest, stochastic gradient descent, and support vector classification. Good. And I see that you're getting fairly good classifiers, right? In the sense that the ones on the diagonal are much bigger than the off diagonals, which reflects in the accuracy numbers, 0.9, 0.92, 0.9. And yeah, so which one of the 3 classifiers, when I look at these numbers, which one of the 3 classifiers do you think that may be the best one in this case? They are very similar, but which one would you pick?
Actually, they are really similar to each other, but I think it's a stochastic gradient descent is better than 2 others because the number of the value of accuracy is really a bit more than the 2 others.
Yeah. So if you look at the numbers, if you look at these metrics, it's a little bit better, right? So 0.92, 0.87, 0.8. This is the same, and this one is 0.9. Yeah, the stochastic gradient descent is a little bit better. As I said before, right? Depends on the partition, depends on the random partition you're looking at. But in this case, at least from what I'm seeing on the screen, the middle one, the gradient descent looks better than the other 2, a bit better. I agree.
Yes, it is. They are really similar.
Yeah, they're very similar in performance. Okay, so any other any question on this one? Any other question? From you, from everybody else. Okay. Okay, so I believe that was we went through all 5 groups, right? Is that correct? Am I missing anybody? No, right? We went through all 5 groups.
Yes, Professor.
We were able to show your work. I think overall is really good, right? You have done a great job, and in only in a few days, few hours, you were doing something good, showing your understanding. You're showing that you can play with this data, which is true data coming from. I mean, at least in the pump case, is true data. The other, I mean, for the iris example, also is true data, but it's not technical data. But these are the type of problems you will see in you will see, or you have seen maybe in industry, right? So yeah, any other questions or comment about the projects or the class in general? Okay, so I will. So there were a few questions and comments during the presentation today, where I said that I was going to help. So if you please reach out to me, I can help with some pointers there and some comments. Please do that. Other than that, I think we have achieved what we wanted to achieve for today. Agostino, anything else from your point of view here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then we can talk offline if you need something from me on the different groups or something like that. You can let me know. We can discuss later.
Sure.
But I fully appreciate the opportunity to communicate with you guys and during these couple of days. This was, as I said from the beginning, this was meant to be an introductory class on machine learning and applications to health equipment health management. Also, I mean, we started from zero, from scratch in Python, and we were able to do a couple of things. So I'm happy with that. So yeah, thanks a lot for your attention, and we feel free to reach out to me if you need something in the future. I can try to point you to the right direction.
Thank you very much, Daniel. By the way, just mentioned that our student of second year will have opportunity to carry out some internship on the months from January to July, while the student of the first year could have opportunity during the break of the holidays in Christmas, as well as during the break of the lecture in the summer, to take some short, what we call summer stage or winter stage. And in case you could be interested in assign some, let me say, project that could be carried out or to offer some internship opportunity, I feel they could be interesting to organize some meeting together, but I leave up to you. Maybe then I will provide more information offline, and maybe you can check. We have the curricula of the person that are accessible, and I will give you the direction how to do. Okay.
Yes, that's a very good point and a good idea. So it is not necessarily doing an internship with a company, right? It could be a short project too. Could be.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Appreciate.
Very good.
All right.
So thank you again. And if in case I feel everybody have his own email, maybe you can show your reference if you have written down in a specific way, but I think it's even on the call of this webinar. So.
Say that again. Show what, Agostino?
Your email in case they would like to pose you some additional question or what.
Oh yeah, sure. I can add my my work email.
Or you can just write down in the chat if you prefer.
I'll do it right now. Yeah, you're right. It's the best thing. So this is my work email with Schlumberger. you have questions, I may be able to answer right away. You may need to wait for a couple of days, right? Depending on what's going on.
Sure.
So if, but I will try to get back to you as soon as I can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for your time and for your effort. And I hope we will have other opportunity like this one to do something nice together, because I feel it was very fruitful, as you said, in really few hours. There was a huge potential for the person of second class. It was some kind of reminder of what they have done in other case, but vice versa for other one was the really first application of computational intelligence, let me say, and I feel they give you a great support to understand that is feasible to do even by yourself some analysis, some data, and so to extract the value, and even to make a little bit familiar with these tools and with this language that give you a major advantage or respect people that don't have such skill, obviously, and so I feel that's very good.
What we can discuss later offline, Agostino, is maybe to have something similar for a next level, right? Next level when
more advanced.
Yeah, an advanced class, maybe a 4-hour class or whatever makes sense.
Right. I feel so, Daniel. So we will keep in touch. Enjoy. It's still morning, I feel, on your side.
Yeah. I have it's 9 a.m. 9:08 here, so I have
7 hours now.
Say it again.
7 hours times difference. Yes. Here is 4:00 p.m.
Yes.
So it's here is not so sunny, but I will say it's a little bit cloudy and a little bit windy, not so much wind. So, any case, so it was a real pleasure. Thank you, and thank you to all the attendees. I mean,
appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Peace and love.
Thank you, Mr. Viassolo.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much, Professor. Have a nice day.
So, gentlemen, while Daniel is going, I would like to ask you if you prepared all the material for the visa support, and say me to what embassy or what consulate you are in touch. I would like to send out communication for making some kind of solicitation or request to recheck it, okay?
I have already sent the Excel file to Anna, Professor.
So Anna, you are always in charge of working for everybody. I know you will get a place in paradise.
So Venom did most of the job. I just have like a couple of people that still need to send me the location, but he did most of the job. I have to.
So very good, very good. So you will have both a place in whatever paradise you belongs. Okay. Molto bene, quindi me la farà avere quando? So when you will deliver it to me.
Entro stasera sicuramente, mi mancano i luoghi di tipo 3-4 persone, ma sono tutte iraniane, per cui ho il sospetto che l'abbiano tutti fatti a Teheran l'application.
Yes, because I've seen your exchange with somebody say that 99% they will be in Tehran embassy. There is even Abba Martin, I feel, that is in need for something like that. That probably is another embassy. Abba.
Yes, he sent the location already.
Very good, very good, very good.
The people missing are all Iranian, so I think all of them are probably did the application in Tehran, but I'm waiting for the confirmation. It's
yes,
like 3 or 4
very
people
good.
at the moment.
By the way, just to let you know, I don't know if Mario is still connected. Maybe he's gone, and somebody of the second year is still connected. Or they escaped. Feel they escape. Any case, I would like to say that they sent me a proposal for organizing a couple of webinar from Leonardo Group that is even looking for people. Probably is looking for people mostly of the second year, but maybe there are even opportunity for short stage, even for the first year class. And that will be, by the way, probably, I don't know yet if it's restricted or not. In case, I'll let you know, okay? Because could be restricted to Italian eyes only, but I will check, okay? And there is even some, there will be at the end of this month, on the 30th of November, one day that is called 1 year, 1 day. I don't know if you never attended. Anna or Stefano, did you attend in the past 1 year, 1 day?
No, I haven't.
But you heard about?
No.
Okay, 1
No,
year,
I
1.
don't know.
Okay, 1 year, 1 day is 1 day where you can have the interview corresponding to 1 year of your life. What I mean, normally there are between, let's say, 20 to 40 companies. They are looking for young engineers, okay? And what they do is that in the morning, each of these company present very quickly his own reality, but mostly saying what they expect from you as young scientists, engineers, and what they offer you, okay? So they have normally 3 to 5 minutes, 10 for our sponsor to present opportunities. And then when we finish this round, that takes normally up to the noon in our local time, we start interviews, what we call a campus interview. They are not necessarily ultimate interview, maybe some kind of preliminary interview with the company, where they could get in touch with you and vice versa. And then if it's finalized, maybe they will offer you something. The company attend mostly not for looking for a stage, but for hiring people. So the major focus is on, let's say, new graduate students, okay? However, it is a very good opportunity for you in 2 terms. First of all, that you can start to get in touch and maybe talk about opportunity for some week of internship during the break, but now will be very hard with this contingency that are related to COVID-19 crisis, but maybe for the summertime. And then start to consider to know them about then to try to get in touch to finalize an internship on next year. Second aspect is that I don't know, many of you had already an interview with the company, but could be very important to learn how to manage an interview with a company. Probably the best way is to do it. So in that day, you will have opportunity. I don't know how many, because with COVID will be less. But for instance, in March, I feel last one was March 3rd, in the middle of our COVID lockdown with a lot of contingency, we still had 18 companies, and several one contacted us later because they missed the call just because they was too busy with to solving their processes to organize their worker to work from home. So I expect 20, 25. Let's see, I feel that already 10 or something like that were joining the list. In case you will have to prepare your curriculum in English that you already have, I recommend to send that one of Strategos that could be more professional, and send it. By time you have to submit even on some place of University of Genoa website that I feel is almost ready if it's not there. In case the event is already, site is already there, I put here the link so you can take a look. There are not yet the name of the company for this year, but there are the company of the last edition, so you can use it to get a feeling of what is going. Okay, so this could be a good opportunity. Just to waste, let me say, 1 minute on this issue. I don't know if you are still listening. How many people is still connected? This will be fully virtual, okay? And I expect that if you connect, you will dress even for the interview in proper way. So my recommendation for the mails, as always say, when we have meeting with customer or sponsor or industrial representative, try to be, let me say, professional. That means for the mail, I recommend a jacket and a shirt, business shirt, and eventually a tie. Okay, it's not so crucial because you will be behind the camera, so probably it can be even something very basic. And I don't recommend that you stay with the underpant, but obviously what you show is what they will see, so it's not so crucial. Similar way for the ladies, Anna. I don't know, so I don't say that you have to put a tailleur on, but please be professional, okay? Because as you can imagine, you are pretty young. We don't expect to have you dressed like a Mormon. I don't know if you know what is a Mormon. Anna,
I do.
you know? Okay, any case, it's some guy that are strongly strict in terms of religion, Christian religion, that goes around with a very formal dress. But sometimes it's better to be a little bit formal with people on professional field. But you can even be with a polo shirt, without a tie, whatever, but try to look professional, okay? So you have to look in such way. Before to go to the company, to the interviews, I strongly recommend that you take a look on their website. Someone will show up as company probably just 1-2 days before the event, so maybe even in the morning, you can look on their website. So when we will meet with them, you can know what they do, because somebody don't like too much that you make an interview if you don't have idea what the company does. It's pretty interesting to listen the company when they talk, because probably the person that talk often will make you the interview, or is a manager of the people that make you the interview. So if you listen them, you can be more effective and have more impact during the discussion with them. So pay attention to that one. You can make questions to them to know things. There is a friend of me that say there are no stupid questions. Any case, just to use some humor, you don't have to make stupid questions. What I mean, prepare yourself to meet like if it was a real professional meeting with a real interview for your potential offering, getting a position. Keep it easy, because in fact it's a way to make such experience much earlier than you need. So you will start to learn. My strong recommendation is to do as many interviews as you can, because this is mostly for learning, and to keep the most interesting for you interview not as first one. So you can go to interview somebody that have a different, that maybe is a minor interest for you in terms of company, but it could be a good opportunity to ice break with you the kind of way it works in interview. So when you arrive, I don't know, if you want to have an interview with ABB, that is your major interest, or with a center, keep maybe not as first, but as fourth, fifth. So when you will arrive there, you have already some experience and you break out. Okay. Obviously, they will prefer mostly of them are Italian branch of international company, and probably most of them will prefer Italian-speaking people. That means for the foreigners that are around the table, it will be a good opportunity to make a test, but even to remind you that you should try as hard as possible to learn Italian as well as other language to be able to work even outside, especially if you are interested in Europe, okay? That is not mandatory, because to give you an example, ABB, I feel, have 60% revenues from international contract. Other companies have 80% revenues for international companies. So it's pretty fine to take just people that talk in English. In most the big one, English is fine. They have already people working here in Italy that came from completely other part of the world, often by our students, but our former student, obviously. But if you are good and you speak good English and you are a good engineer, you will have an opportunity. But if you speak even Italian, you will have more opportunity. And a parity of other elements could be a good aspect. And if you want to go in small, medium-sized enterprise, is even more useful. Okay. Do you have any question about that?
Yes, sir. Can I ask a question?
Sure, Rayane, go.
It's 30th of November, isn't it? Yes.
I feel so. I posted the link on the chat so you can take a look.
Okay, thank you. And may I ask what kind of information we should study beside the site of the company? For example, most of them are automation or something like that. What quality we should approve?
It's a good question, Rayan. I feel that there are some elements you have to keep in mind. For sure, what they don't like, I make you an example. Do you know DuPont Seymour? DuPont now. DuPont company.
No, sir. No.
Okay, any case, anybody around the table knows the DuPont company?
No. Yeah, it's a chemical company, right? They make plastics and materials and stuff like that, I think.
Exactly. DuPont is now known as an innovation company, but originally was doing on power, but in the 800, and then become an oil and gas and a chemical company. But the point is, DuPont is the owner of and the inventor of materials such as nylon, Teflon, Kevlar, Mylar. Okay, so most of the material that we use all the day, I feel everybody knows nylon. Everybody knows almost the Teflon that is made even for cooking or for even less friction that ice, to give you an idea, or Kevlar that is twice resistant the steel at same weight or weighting half of the steel at same resistance against impact. TISO is a major company in the sector of innovative material. Nowadays have a huge, they was making the biggest acquisition, merger and acquisition 10 years ago, becoming, I feel, the major company in the sector of seeds, because they are investing a lot in biotechnology currently, and they're selling out the painting, because originally as chemical company, it was one of the major producers of paints. But they do all kind of new material, new seeds, etc. And I know that they was a little bit upset during the interview in past edition. I don't think this time they will have around the table, but because the people was thinking they was DuPont that wanted to do lighters. Probably have you seen some gadget for cigars and for pen that is from DuPont. They are very famous, usually used even by James Bond in movies, okay. But this is another kind of DuPont company, okay? So, Rayane, one major point is to be aware of what they do. So if you talk with a chemical company, if you talk with a software company, if you talk with an automation, if you talk with a consulting firm, so it is a major point. Second aspect, when we talk with them, my recommendation is that you sell you based on your previous background, but even especially based on your current background. So if I ask you, Rayane, what kind of engineer you are, you should say, I'm a strategic engineering, currently studying a strategic engineer in Genoa University, the new degree, and I have a degree in whatever, okay? So don't think yourself just based on the degree that you completed, but even on the new one that is going, okay? And third important aspect, Rayane, is don't look just for company in your field. I mean, you are a chemical engineer, you look for a chemical company. You are a computer scientist, you look for a software company. It's not necessarily true, okay? In international environment, especially if you talk with managers, there is interest for your potential more than for your background. So if you're good, they could take you in a software company, even if you have a chemical engineering background, and vice versa, because they will look for your potential. In many cases, there is necessity of different backgrounds. So don't be scared to make an interview with a company working in another sector, because sometimes this company need special expertise, okay? And can you imagine a major company cover almost all the different sectors, and especially they look for young, smart people. So that's a good point, okay? They will ask you things, so be ready to answer. For instance, I don't know, Nabil, are you there?
Yes, Professor.
So your background is?
Electrotechnical engineering. It's electrical engineer, as you call it.
Okay, but this is wrong, Nabil, because I just said, what is your background? Electrotechnical engineering, and currently I'm completing my strategic engineering. Okay, Nabil. So let's assume I am, just let me go and take one random of the companies that are active, that was active last time. Okay. 1 second. Okay. I am Rina. Okay, Nabil, we are doing a simulation. I am Rina, and to give you an idea, Rina is the Italian broadcasting ship register. They carried out certification on quality, on marine activity, oil and gas, and many other aspects. Maybe you already met somebody of Rina virtually, no? Did you met somebody of Rina virtually, Nabil?
Probably on a webinar, yes.
Yes, exactly. So let's assume that I ask you, what you would like to do in Rina?
Maybe I would implement my background. I don't know.
Yes, I don't know, you don't say, okay?
Yes.
It's not bad answer, but you need to be a little bit more dynamic in answering, okay?
Yes.
You don't have to be arrogant, never being arrogant, but if you demonstrate to be self-secure, that's good. I want to improve my background, it's very good. And eventually, if you know a little bit better what goes Rina, you can make proposal, but it's very important to listen before what they say, you know, in order to make eventually some proposals. If you remember what was saying the guy from Rina, you can say, look, I've seen such kind of app that you are developing to improving the efficiency of ship. I feel this match pretty good with my background, but even in terms of marine certificate, I don't know, whatever you like. Okay, you don't have to say, you have to say the truth, but you need to be proactive. Okay, is it clear, Nabil?
Yes, yes.
Let me make another example. Oriol.
Yeah.
Okay, Oriol. What about if I ask you, what is scary you about working in a company?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer.
That's a good one. Otherwise, I was not posing to you. They are supposed to be a smart guy.
What scares me the most is probably, well, I guess that what happens to everybody, not being able to reach the goals that you set for yourself and that your employer sets for you.
Okay, just to let you know, this is you had the please. I appreciate a lot you answered my question. In fact, it's not a very good answer because looking from my side, I will think that you are not very self-secure. So you have you are not confident with your own capability, and why I should be confident with you if you are not confident by yourself. Okay,
of course.
That doesn't mean that is. You have to say what you think, but think and prepare yourself. No, for instance, I give you an example, a very good answer, but you don't have just to remember this one because otherwise, when they pose you this question, everybody will answer the same. It will be so find yourself. But the good answer is I'm scared that people think about me things that are not correct because I would like always to be transparent, open to people, and I'm confident what I do. I do my best to succeed. Okay. I make another test. Nico, where are you, Nico? Nico? Too bad. Pierluigi, are you there?
Yes, Professor, I'm here.
So I pose you a question, okay?
Okay.
What do you feel is your strongest value? What do you consider very strong at?
Maybe adaptability.
Okay, maybe you can elaborate a little bit.
Oh, so, for For example, if you give me a task or something to do that maybe I'm not too good at it, or a task that I'm good at it, but I have to do it in a different way, or something that may give me some stress because I don't know how to approach to give it a solution, I can always find the best way to do it. If I get some time, I can concentrate and trying to understand and give a solution or do the task in a good way.
Good answer. The only things I will not say, I will always find the best way, but I will always find a good way, a pretty good way. Okay, because the best way maybe it could be not always the best, but
yeah, yes.
Okay. Marumula, Sanjay Kumar. Apologize for.
Yes, Professor.
So, and what about where are you currently, Sanjay Kumar?
Yeah, I'm in India, Professor.
Okay, in India, where?
It's Hyderabad, Telangana.
So my suggestion is when I ask you from where you are, say that the place, but give it in an international context. Okay, I don't want that you look too much American. No, when you say that I'm from Paris, Texas. Okay, you don't have to say I'm from London, UK. But in general, it's not bad to say I am in United Kingdom. Currently, I stay in London, or I am from Hyderabad, and I'm currently located in India, and my plan is to move soon in whatever you like to go. Okay. So Marmula, a question. What is your goal? You would like to still working in India? Do you work to move in Europe or some other place? What do you expect for your future?
Yeah, further my answer will be working in a best company, traveling the world, switching the places, seeing the different places, whatever may be the double that. It can be not be a particular place, but if a good company offers me in a good place, I would be ready to switch. And because I'm that kind of a guy who love to travel and see places, so that would be my answer.
Okay, very good, very good. So this is very good. Think about that. Some people, especially people of human resource, will look at your curricula, and so when they will pose you a question, maybe we'll mention something. Maybe a lot of questions from human resource came about your age and your educational career. So somebody can ask why you take so much to complete the bachelor, why you reapply for another master program, why you get a low quotation, low ranking in your bachelor or whatever. Okay. Or they can ask you about what you was doing in your experience, in professional experience on. So be ready to give an answer. Try to don't answer by one word, no? So for instance, if I ask you, did you had a professional experience? The answer should not be something like yes. Okay. Or just the answer should not be yes, I worked as field engineer. And then silence. You don't have to talk forever, but you can say, yes, I had experience as a field engineer. I was working in Hyderabad. There was a chemical plant where I was in charge of checking the pump groups or to making support to the responsible of maintenance or to do whatever. And was interesting for me because I learned the ABC or what was a little bit whatever. Okay. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's like giving a brief description, but to a precise point.
Exactly, to show that it's precise and how you will dress, Daniel Kumar?
Sorry?
How do you will dress for the interview?
Yeah.
Can you turn on your camera?
You have good business chat.
Can you show me? Can you turn on the camera?
Right now, I'm not in a...
No, right now we don't care, but show me the camera on.
Yeah, sure.
Kabul. Okay, so that's a nice background. Okay. So it seems fine. Eventually, if you put some little bit more format, will be okay. But okay, so keep it easy. I mean,
Yeah.
Very good. And if you have some kind of picture in your profile, okay,
Good, yeah.
or if you use some of that to make interview in WhatsApp or in Skype, please put a picture that is, let me say, professional. I know sometimes it's nice to put a picture while you are near to jump in the water or kissing your best friend or making funny things with your cats or your dog, and that's fine. That you are free to do. But for instance, Rayane is a very good example of professional picture. It is as Anye as well as Nagib, I feel. Daniele, yes, but if it's very incumbent in terms of face. Berelian, you are very elegant in this picture. I mean, you seems probably a killer, but it's not bad. I mean, Alessandro is pretty good. Abba, it's okay. Okay, but if you make a little bit professional, it will not bad. Okay, but especially avoid to look a little bit too, let me say, fancy. Because I remember one of my very good students, he had to make a test. He was in a company on some rocket experimentation on a simulation. I was in San Diego. We was connected with NASA. He connected, and we was doing by Skype. He had a picture that was in a swimming suit on the pier. Okay, that was not any problem. I mean, you know, it's not, we are not at some kind of a party with the king of Belgium or Norway or the president of the United States. But for you that you are young, etc., it's better to have a look that is professional from this point of view. You don't have to exaggerate. I know that I give this direction, and sometimes I am not properly understood. Once I was saying to one of my staff, one lady, maybe was not a very genius, that she had to look professional and elegant. Elegant for me means elegant for business. She was coming to this meeting and she was arriving with a four, a four, and with the diamond around the neck and diamond over the head. By the way, not real diamond. I know it's and with a very high heel on the shoes. Okay, we don't need to go to dress like if we do when we go alla prima della Scala and the premiere of the Italian opera. Okay, or to a special party with the Queen of United Kingdom. But we need to be, let me say, professional, elegant. I feel that Anna understands perfectly, but even Anye, Berelian, and all the other one. Correcto? Berelian?
Hello, I'm sorry. Hello, yeah.
Hello. So is it clear? No, you don't need to be dressed for night, for a soiree. You need just to be professional, fine. Okay.
Okay, change it. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Very nice picture on your profile, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I feel if you have any question about this event, we are still plenty of time, but I was willing to give you some insight. Okay. Just because today is finishing early, and so I will make the video of today available on the web as it is that one of the last time. And if you have any question, please contact me. Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Very good.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
My pleasure. Do you have any question, any issue?
No.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
One last issue
But
that.
may I ask another question?
What you like to ask?
Really sorry for the first CV, we should have the CV that we are uploading in STRATEGOS or with different kind of format?
No, my suggestion is use that one of STRATEGOS, so it will be more evident that you are of this group. I feel that could be good because several of the company attending probably are STRATEGOS patron, and they will like to see such professional homogeneous presentation. If you like, you can use an update if you have something to add, okay?
Okay, that's
But,
great. Thank you.
But you can take the version that you prepare and rearrange a little bit and try to make it well done. And what else? There will be probably the place where to upload the curricula, okay? That normally is provided by University of Genoa website. That could be late, but probably will be available. Otherwise, you can send by email, but I recommend to wait and upload because it could be more easy to access for the companies. But we'll have plenty of time. I feel we will deliver the curricula to company on the 26th of November. So don't worry. If you can add something like some of the webinar that you attended could be good. For instance, I will mention in your curricula that you attended this webinar, for instance, organized by Genoa University in cooperation with Dr. Viassolo of Schlumberger, and in a similar way that one of hybrid work. So if you see some specific added value, if you have to add 20, probably doesn't make sense, but select someone. Usually the curriculum is made ad personam. So what I mean, if you send a curriculum to a company that is in defense, probably you outline in different way your skill respect to a curriculum to a company that is in, let's me say, business, or if it's a chemical company or is in a food and beverage company. In this case, I will keep it easy and will prepare one version, but well done. Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
Last point.
It was well informed.
Very good. Last point that I mentioned you is something that I anticipate to some of the tutors, like to share with you. When you have a webinar, today there was a lot of interaction, okay? But when you have a webinar, especially with external people, you don't have to make question to make question. I mean, you don't have to make stupid question, but listen the presentation and try to think about some question that we like to pose to better understanding, because usually you are supposed to be proactive. So you should be able to stimulate some presentation. Some of the person that talk with you have a top position, of high position and top qualification, etc. So if I talk for you for 2-3 hours, I expect that we can have something to share that may be related to what I said, obviously. And so this doesn't mean that you will need to be, let me say, to force a question where a question is not to be done. You have obviously to make it intelligent question, because in general, who listen, is a smart person. So you don't have to do question for flattering, for flattery, etc. But if you have some smart question or some doubt, try to raise it in a smart way, because it will increase even the interaction. And one of the added value of this webinar is even to get in touch with these people, because maybe in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you will work in a company, maybe something point out that was related to this webinar, and it's not too much to get the notes or the material, but you can even write an email to these people. And writing an email, this could be good, because you can have a contact, ask some information, to ask some recommendation, to mention the talk that you had. That this is a major added value in very good, very highly qualified master program, like we expect to be in STRATEGOS. So you have to act in this way. So I would like to stress you to try to be proactive, okay? Not when none is necessary, but try to do your best to show your skill. The answer that you give me, that was not bad. I mean, even when I criticized it before, who was Nabil, no? I just criticized to make a joke, but I feel, Nabil, do you understand? You have a good answer. I mean, you have to be even more bad. You can be even better. This is the spirit behind. We do such experience to improve. Nobody is perfect. Everybody still learn things. Even when you will be 80, you will learn things. And now that you are 20, you are learning things. So we have to work in this way to improve step by step. Okay.
Right, Professor.
Molto bene, allora non fate follie, ci sentiamo. Ci sono delle mani alzate? No, what? Yes, Daniel.
Yes, me, Professor. Only to ask to you, what do you think about Coursera?
Coursera, but that one?
Sorry?
Why you ask me this one?
No, regarding being proactive, regarding things that we can do, only to know your opinion if you consider that is a thing that it could be a nice thing to do, because I was looking for this.
Non ho capito cos'è Coursera, mi scusi.
No, only a page in which there are some courses that if you put your university, there are some free courses, for example, that change from depending on the university.
The courses, Coursera that is working with IBM, Google, etc.
Exactly.
Okay.
Google.
So I feel that are all good things. So each things that you find to read or to watch is useful. Each qualification that you can get is useful. You have to be, let me say, open to this issue and be aware of them. I feel that you will do even something in Strategos, but if you do even outside, it's pretty good. So don't get crazy about that, because it's very useful. There's many one are good and free even, but don't get just doing that, because otherwise it will be without end. So I recommend that if you have some time, you can watch and learn things. Always keep in mind that when you have a presentation from something, like even in this case, but in other case, each one present his own idea and approach. Maybe other people have different idea and approach. Usually there is no one true, okay? For instance, in artificial intelligence, you will see probably in many cases, there is people that are monotheist, okay? What I mean by monotheist, somebody that think artificial intelligence is artificial neural networks by upfield networks. Somebody else will say yes, but no, it's more important genetic algorithm. Somebody else will say no, it's fuzzy logic, and so on. Okay. In reality, all these techniques are useful, and even in the case when we talk about soft skill, like in the case that you mentioned, where you can have opportunity to listen different kind of course, not only in terms of technical, but even in terms of managerial, in terms of interaction, etc. These are all useful, but consider always with critical sense, okay? Because obviously it's if you need to master all the techniques, but if you master all, you can find the best one to be applied. For instance, to give you an example from this way, you have I don't know, remember always what is the acronym in English. NLP. Do you know NLP?
Natural language
processing.
Neuro-linguistic programming. Okay. Maybe it was becoming popular, especially some year ago. Who was answering? Daniele, do you know NLP?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of interview about one person working on Google Translate, for example.
Okay, but in NLP is something different. I move and I look to your body language, and my words, your wording, in order to extract what you are feeling and if you are influencing your reaction. Okay. Probably
Okay.
The Mentalist. Have you seen Mentalist, Alessandro?
Yeah. No, Professor, I didn't watch it, but I know what are you talking about. The theme, I knew some. I saw sometimes something like.
For instance, you know that when I look at your eyes, if when I pose you a question, your eyes move to the right or to the left, it turns to be a sign that you are looking for your memory or you are looking for your, let me say, creativity part, because
Yes.
your brain has some connection. So based on how you move your eyes, I can guess if you are saying the truth or you invented what we can call a ball in terms of familiar lexic, but or means that you are lying. Do you know that, Daniele?
Yes, I haven't heard because I had a friend that read a book about this and he explained a little bit of those things.
I can tell you that I have one of my best students that will give you a lecture to you, was a student 20 years ago. So that was working in a major consulting firm. I feel was Boston Consulting Group. And after he create with friends his own consulting company. And step by step, he moved in coaching. Do you know what is coaching? Anybody knows what is coaching?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So coaching is to prepare people to have motivate. He works in the sector of management, so with company. He works in the sector of entertainment, in the sector of sports. Okay, and still doing consultancy. And we was organizing some year ago, maybe 10 years ago, an opportunity for some of my students to work with him, attending his course in neuroprogramming language. And was a student that was a good student. Maybe he was not a very extra exceptional student, but was a pretty good student. He was going there. He was a little bit late with the exam. He attended the first month of classes. Maybe even the first 2-3 weeks he was carrying out a master a long weekend for people in companies, for executive. And he was behind the schedule of 6 exams. Okay, this guy. And in 3 months before December, from September to December, he complete almost all the exam, taking all 30 on 30. So each of us was very surprised and say, this course is very effective. He was a huge fan of this technique, no? And he was even, let me say, to joke, because this is, I don't mention the name of the person, so we can say, he was even using, because it was supposed to be usable, for having success with girls. So there are techniques to influence girls. I don't know if you are aware, Daniel. By NLP.
Not in theory, not so much in theory.
Okay, anyway. And there was a very good student, another very, very good student that was a very good friend with him. They was going out together. And the other student was very successful with girls, no? And maybe this other student that have the course in NLP was usually not so very successful with girls, regular. But during the out for dinner together, he was applying these techniques and explaining to the friend that these techniques is very effective, but in fact it was not effective at all. And my other student was trying to say, look, it's not working. When they was alone from the girls, look, don't do it this way, because you become not very pleasant for our girl. I invite this girl that is a friend of my girlfriend, and it's not working, stop. But he was so enthusiastic and was not successful. And so that, I mean, and finally he still had an exam, and it takes 10 months to complete the exam. What is the moral of this tale? The moral is these techniques are very effective, okay? But they are not the panacea. They don't solve everything. You have to realize when they work and when we don't work. Because if you play with somebody that notice fact, it can generate a backfire. Sometimes could be not effective. Sometimes it could be effective. It's you that make it effective, applying it to when it works. And so it's the same for all the certificate that you can take and all the things about leadership, etc. It's very good to learn this one, give you additional arrows to be used, but don't become a fans of only one. You have to keep an open mind. Okay, Daniele?
Yes,
But
there is.
neural language in programming was even, some of the foundation was introduced by Giordano Bruno. Giordano Bruno is a famous philosopher that was very successful at the court of the King of France. And he was teaching rule to learn how to memorize items. If you learn these techniques, it's very good, but it's not all about that. I mean, this is an additional technique as I teach you how to calculate the eigenvalue of a matrix, but you will not solve all the problem of your life calculating eigenvalues of the matrix, okay? Gli autovalori sarebbe. Okay, so any other issue? Ah, una cosa, one thing, Daniele. I asked to somebody, maybe to Anye. Anye, are you here? Anye Shari.
Yes, yes, Professor.
Ah, very good. Anye, would you feel that Daniele Sirna should change the picture that he have in his own profile of MS Teams to look more professional?
Picture of Daniel, eh?
Yes.
I think, no.
Okay, I think yes. Okay, Daniele. So, because it's a good picture of you, but it's a little bit too much incumbent. Take a little bit later, and even with the face that is a little bit less impressive, okay? At least.
No, I have already done when I understand what that he was saying this. So when we are talking before, I reduced the zoom.
Okay, good.
It's already changed.
But for Halloween period, it's fine. I mean, no, I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, no problem. No problem. I understand.
That I didn't mean. Go, Anya.
I think he should zoom out the picture.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yes, I have done exactly this 10 minutes ago.
It will take a while, you know. Microsoft is crazy. It's the same with Google. I don't know if you have a Google profile. When you change a picture on Google profile, you never know when it show up the new picture.
No, I never done.
Any case, I mean, I hope you don't hate me because I had a joke about your picture.
Yeah, yes, Professor, I will change it.
No, but it's not bad. I mean, but try to look a little bit more engineer style. Okay, that's good with the sunglasses. I feel it's pretty cool, but you can be a little bit more professional, and it could work fine. Okay, very
yes,
good. No problem. Just solution. Okay. You can even complain about my picture that dates back probably before you even born. So don't worry. Everybody have his own skeleton.
Professor, your picture looks like when you were young, very, very young.
Yes, that was made in NASA base of Ames before you born. Okay.
Yes, it looks like a picture that was taken 30 years ago.
Yeah, because you know, in original this was probably around 1860 something.
Okay.
I'm just joking. But don't worry. Okay, so it's fine. But I use always this picture so people recognize that it's me, because if I change picture in all the profile, then people don't know if it's me, and then maybe. There was a general that was, I feel, MacArthur. Do you know General MacArthur, Abba?
No, Professor.
General MacArthur was in charge of the U.S. force in the Pacific during the Second War, and got in pretty good result after initial defeat by Japanese, and it was quite well known because was in charge of Japan after the war, and it was fixing direction that allowed Japan to let's say, to go up very fast, avoiding to have some huge social and geopolitical problem, because if Japan was not resurrecting, could become very unstable. And in fact, he was even fighting, I feel maybe Jin Bong Lee. He was in charge of operation against in the war of Korea, against North Korea.
Yeah. The operative name was Incheon something, I don't remember.
And he was a strong supporter of South Korean people. And he was able very quickly to stop the advance of North Korean, but he was removed for his position because he was supposed to be too much independent and too much decision maker, respected the expectation from Washington, D.C. But it was a great strategist that you can see as in good and bad things, obviously. But he was saying something very interesting before to retreat. He was in West Point Academy, and in his final speech in front of West Point, he was saying that to be old is not a characteristics of the age of life, but is characteristic of your soul. And so you can have old people that are very young, and you can have young people that are very old in terms of age. But if their spirit, if their soul is old or is young, it depends on their attitude. And I feel it's very good quotation. In any case, MacArthur was, from some point of view, a genius. I just mentioned about he managed the Japan because Japan was a very hard country to manage after the war. In some way, many one thinks they lose their honor, but in reality was saving the honor and the spirit of the country. And if you look to what they have tried to do in Korea, it means that was a really, I mean, it was doing similar thing in Philippines during the war and after the war in Korea. He had a very good view on how to support the foreign countries, even for obviously for the interests of the United States, but in terms of military strategy, in terms even of managing complex system like a state, was pretty good considering that he was not a politician, but he was a military person. Obviously, he was not so, how do you say, disciplinato. He was not so disciplined, so obviously the president of the United States at some point don't like it so much. But who knows what was right. In any case, he have done always his duty. Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice evening, and don't be too crazy. We'll see you soon, I feel. Probably next Monday. I feel there are no webinars this week, correct?
Yes.
But if you need to contact me, feel free to contact me, and do your best on the other course. Take some relax on the weekend study. The people that cannot attend lecture, please keep in touch with the professor. Ask if there are assignments to the professors as well as to your colleague in order to don't lose the opportunity to go forward. I know there is some student that is a working student. I know one for all, Giorgio Minestrini. Maybe some of you should keep in touch with him and with other your colleagues. You should act like a class. Okay, goodbye.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. See you soon.
See you on Monday.